Hi, today we're working up a sweat. Let's roll. Hello and welcome to another episode of the HEMA Show. I, like always, am your host Stuart, and this is edited by my slave Andy. Say hi, Andy.
Fuck off!
So, this episode is an interesting one, slightly different. We are looking at whether HEMA is actually good exercise or not. So, let's get into it. Before we go too much further, I come from a fitness background. I'm a qualified fitness instructor, personal trainer, stroke rehab specialist, and injury rehab specialist. I come from a fitness background originally. This is how I kind of got into this jam. So we're doing deep dives on my PT knowledge. Some of this knowledge may be out of date. I haven't done PT work in about 5-6 years. So some of this may not be as up to date as possible, but it's going to be relatively relevant. So, is HEMA actually good for your fitness? Interesting. Kind of depends what you bring to it. On the face of it, yes, it is a great workout. It will get your heart rate up. It will get a sweat on. It will make you work out. The actual redeeming features of HEMA when it comes to exercise is what we call a plyometric exercise. So plyometric is rapid, explosive, high impact, high outburst energy. But what it also is kind of, you guys have heard of HIIT training. It's high intensity training. So you have these bursts of high activity and then down, and bursts of high activity and down. And the reason why this is particularly good for, I say, rapid weight loss, that kind of has some negative connotations, but why this is good for high caloric burn is because the body doesn't really get a chance to get too used to what's going on. The body is an incredible thing. In every single possible thing it does, it seeks efficiency. It's why your eyes get used to the dark, because it's more efficient. You need to be able to see it. Your body adjusts to the situation at hand. And for fitness, that is a bad thing. It's why a long run, unless you're training specifically to run for a long time, like marathons or anything like that, it's why a long run is actually not that great for you if you just want the caloric burn, because your body gets used to it. You kind of hit the wall and you can plod on at that point. Your body gets used to what's happening. Your body goes, okay, cool, we're running. All right, well, let's streamline this. Let's make it as efficient as possible. And then suddenly the caloric burn doesn't happen as much, or at least your body gets used to it, and it's not as effective as it was. And that's why HIIT training and plyometric training is really good for that caloric burn, because your body's going, oh shit, what the hell's happening? Oh my God, we're working out. Okay, let's get ready. Let's get kind of efficient. And then you do low intensity stuff and your body going, wait, what? Oh, where's all the exercise gone? Okay, cool. All right, doing, oh shit, we're working out again. Fuck. So that's kind of what happens, and you're keeping the body guessing. You're trying to combat your body's natural ability to make itself as efficient as possible, essentially. So on the face of it, yeah, HEMA is fantastic for fitness. It, in theory, is high calorie burn, high intensity, and it's that real isometric movement. Things like slow, smooth movements aren't always the best. What you need for that deep core exercise, that TVA, the multifidus, the pelvic floor, that kind of exercise, to really essentially bring that waist in, it's the fighting the inertia. It's that movement forwards, stop and pull yourself back to stop yourself moving and absorbing the action. So we'll take the lunge, for example. So your classic fitness lunge. Forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards. Actually, yeah, it's good for the legs, good for the glutes, good for the calves a little bit, the soleus, not so much. But you're moving with it and it's nice and smooth, whereas the fencing lunge is bang, and you don't want to move forwards. You don't want to over roll because it's going to mess with your distance. So your body is having to fixate to keep yourself nice and straight and stable. And it's that fighting the inertia that's going to really tighten up and work that tone specifically, and that body sculpture that's really good for you. So there's all sorts of things like that. And the fact that you're not doing the same thing over and over and over and over. You're not doing press-ups or sit-ups until you're fit. You're doing different exercises from a concept point of view. You're moving this way quite a lot, and then you're moving forwards, and then you're twisting, and then suddenly you're backtracking, you're high cardio because you're chasing someone down. You're having to fix your body position. So what you're doing is so irregular that your body isn't getting a chance to really streamline itself, but there's such a wide variety of actions that you're doing that you are maximizing what you're getting out of it. So that on the face of it is why mechanically HEMA is good exercise. Now, other side, there is a false metric that you will get. Never judge your fitness by your sweat. This is something that I always used to see time and time again. So I've got a good sweat on, and you'd be there in front of a customer, they're a paying customer. As a personal trainer, you're going, oh great, good, and you're thinking, okay, it's just hot, dipshit. Sweat is never a good thing, and it's doubly so for us because you're wearing loads of kit. Your body heat's going to come up, you're going to sweat. That is cause and effect, okay? So that's a false metric. There is a false metric there to make you think that you've worked out. Don't be suckered into that, okay? The other thing is that HEMA gifts you a lot of opportunities to not work out. You're in a hall, surrounded by your mates. Hi Dave, how you doing? Waffle, 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 waffle. Excellent. I'll have a little bit of a fight. 3 minutes on piste. Smack, smack, smack. Cool. Excellent. Right. Waffle, 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 waffle. And you can have maybe 3 or 4 fights, and the average fight will last a couple of minutes. Realistically, time your next fight. You'd be amazed at how much of it is active fighting. So it can give you false feedback and give you a false metric on how hard you've actually worked. But yeah, I've had 5 fights tonight. My God, I've worked my ass off. Actually, that's like, what, 15 minutes, maybe? 9, 12, 15 minutes of actual exercise. That's not a huge amount. It's very effective exercise, but it's really not a huge amount. So HEMA can give you a lot of false metrics, so be wary of that. If you are doing HEMA for a fitness reason, then the top tip I can give you is have your matches timed, and just give them to a mate, give them to your ref, whatever, give them to your coach. Coaches are there for this specifically, to fit your need for your progression, whether your progression is competition or fitness, and get them to time. So guard, ready, fight, start the time. Fighty, 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 fight. Someone lands a hit, you guys stop the time. And then when you start again, start the time. So at the end of the night, you will have a total amount of time, and that is your active time. If your club runs for 2 hours, for example, only record your active time and get your data for your fitness from that. That is super important. The fact that you'd be like, yeah, no, I work out 2 hours every week, or if you've got 2 clubs, you go to, yeah, 4 hours of HEMA a week, I must get in shape. Actually, you've probably got about half an hour of active exercise. The rest of it is fucking about, putting kit on and off and chatting to your mates and going for a kebab afterwards. And you'd be amazed at actually how little you work out on a club night. So if that is your goal, make sure that you need to focus on your minutes fought. If it's a case that you're just there beasting yourself safely, say, right, I need 10 fights because I want a good half an hour of hard exercise, then make sure you've got that factored in. Tell your coach. Get a bunch of people lined up. If you've got 3 guys, 4 guys, just be like, right, I'm going to stay here for half an hour and I just want to fight. I need to get these calories off. I need to lose these inches. I need to X, Y, Z. So just track the time. The other thing is the false metric you can have is that you're thinking a lot. You're really focused on what you're doing, and it's very, very, very easy to confuse focus for effort. I've done it before myself, and you see it a lot. You come off of a fight and you're like, phew, that was a hard fight. And you think to yourself, yeah, I really worked hard on that. But you can watch what you've done and you haven't actually worked hard at all. What you've done is you've really thought it through and you've brained the fight out. You've thought it through, and what you've actually done is gone 1, 2, bonk, and then you've gotten the hit. And you've maybe won by a small margin, but most of it has happened up here. Don't confuse focus for effort, okay? And there is a great little tool for you to make sure that you are working hard enough, and it will only work if you're honest with yourself. And if you're doing HEMA to exercise, then honesty is the only way it's going to work. If you cheat yourself, you're only cheating yourself. You absolutely need to be honest with yourself with this one. And it's called the RPE scale, the rate of perceived exertion. Basically, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fucked you are. 1, essentially me, sat here, now, chilling. 10 would be, I can't speak when I'm fighting. Or I can't speak because my exercise is so high. I'm about to vom, pass out, whatever happens when you get to an extreme. So the scale of 1 to 10, how hard you're working. For diving back, the ACSM, the American College of Sports Medicine, they say for tone, it is a 7 to a 8 on the scale of RPE is what you need to maintain for 30 minutes. So you need 30 minutes of 7 to 9 on the RPE for tone. If you want anything sports specific, so for example, if you're a sprinter or weightlifting or anything like that, you've got a specific goal in mind rather than just general fitness, then it is 8 to 9, okay, on the scale of on that RPE scale. So just ask yourself when you are fighting, honestly, scale of 1 to 10, how tired am I? 5. All right, I could probably up the pace if I really want to get the most out of this as a workout. And the RPE scale is the best thing you can have if you're doing it for fitness. You need to be honest with yourself. So if you know you're not honest with yourself and there's more of us out there than we realise, then it's not going to be the best thing for you. But if you can be honest with yourself and your exercise, the RPE scale, get as many minutes, active minutes, not just 2 hours of HEMA. 2 hours HEMA can actually turn into 6 minutes of exercise. It's ridiculous. But yeah, as many active minutes as you can and use the RPE scale. If you're dropping below a 7 in your fight, then it's not worth your time. You need to be there. You need to be present. You need to be exercising. You need to be hitting those numbers. And you need to be doing it for the appropriate amount of time. If you're looking for HEMA, as a fitness, my advice would be you need 30 active minutes of HEMA at least a 7 out of 10. You get those 2 criteria done, you're on a path to progress. Okay, so really focus on that. Things to focus on as well is motivation is key for HEMA. Because it's a hobby, your motivation will wax and wane. Some weeks you will just be like HEMA Jesus, okay, and you'll be all about it. You will not be able to lose a fight. You'll just be like, yes, I'm the god of all things HEMA. And then other weeks you'll just be like, oh man, I've had a wank week at work, can't really be asked for HEMA this week. And then you'll get on piece and be like, I shan't get my head kicked in, fuck it, just arm out, yeah, well done, you bit me again, not bad, great, good work. That's when your motivation is key. You need to still get those numbers, okay? So keep plugging away. 30 active minutes, 7 out of 10. Anything less than that, by all means, if you're not doing it for fitness, less than that is fine. Less than that is okay. But if you're doing it for fitness, do that. Keep it up. You need to maintain that. And even on the hard days, especially on the hard days, that's when it really kicks in. Tell your coach that's what your goal is. Okay. Your coach then, if they know, they just got to shout you from the side of the piste. What's your number? Okay. If you can't answer them, probably good chance that you're at your number. And then if they know that you're after 30 minutes active, they've got their stopwatch running, you've got another 5 minutes to go yet, dumbass. Another fight, please. And that's where your coach can really help you progress. So anyway, hope that helps. If you have things like heart rate monitors or anything like that, it's 220 minus your age is your absolute maximum heart rate. So just round numbers because I'm terrible at maths. If you're 30 years old, obviously you want to get to your maximum heart rate would be 190. 220 minus 30, 190. Yes, 190. Okay, so that's your absolute maximum heart rate. Do not exceed that. And the same thing is 70 to 90% of that. So 70 to 90% of 190 is your what you call the cardiac burning zone. That is when you're at your peak exercise. That's when your body is burning the most. So if you want to get real scientific about it, that's the scientific side of the RPE scale. But dumbing it down, scale out of 1 to 10, boom, done, 7 to 9. Yeah, smash it. Cool, right, on today's question. Okay, so today's question comes from our old friend Anonymous. Again, this is just someone who's not left their name, so apologies, I can't credit you for it. They asked me, what is the best way of starting up a HEMA club? Honestly, don't. It's not me being a dick, not one of the competition. More HEMA clubs, the better for the sport. It's just the first thing I would say if you want to start a HEMA club is be aware that it is an effort. It will be all encompassing. And realistically, you are going to need at least £5 to get the bloody thing off of the floor. You'll need hall hire for a year because you can guarantee for that first year your membership will be lower than you're expecting. You have a responsibility to kit your students. Imagine if you went to, let's keep with the fitness. Imagine you went to a gym. You're like, sweet, I paid my gym membership, I've gone in, and it's just an empty room. Or there's like 3 dumbbells and medicine ball. You'd be like, this is crap. There's not, what I'm paying for isn't here. That's what it would be like to a new member coming to your club if you don't have the right amount of kit. So you have an obligation to be able to provide a decent enough amount of kit. So keep that in mind. And also insurance. So yeah, it's going to cost you, the first year is going to cost you around about 2,500 to 5,000, depending on how much kit you decide to offer your opponents, your customers. But other than the financial side of it, it is a lot of effort. So please do. It's a great thing to do. It's a very rewarding thing to do, but it is a huge amount of effort. You need to provide all sorts of stuff, all the stuff I just mentioned, but then there's lesson planning. Very, very, very few times I'm in the car and I'm not planning lessons. I'm sat at home watching TV with my family. I'm planning lessons. I'm lying in bed not being able to get to sleep. I'm planning lessons. I'm doing lessons. I'm planning sodding lessons. It will take over your life. It is invasive. It just so happens that I love it, so I can deal with it. But if it's just something you're like, yeah, this is kind of cool, let's do it, just be aware that it is invasive and it will take over. Searching for members, always a pain in the arse. Socials, always a pain in the arse. You have to be on it. And unlike a normal job or a lot of other sports, you can't just be like, all right, I'm done. This is the, like we run on a Tuesday, for example. When we finish on a Tuesday, that's not me going, sweet, I'm done now till next Tuesday. There's so much more to do. It never stops. So this isn't me saying don't, despite my facetious answer. Do. It's incredibly rewarding, but it is so much. It is very full on. And as long as you go into it knowing that it's full on and you're ready and expecting it, you should be okay. Everything else is set dressing after that. The biggest thing I would say is just be aware that it is a colossal effort. It's like having a kid. I've got a kid myself. It's been just as much effort raising a kid as opening up a HEMA club and getting it buoyant. I often refer to my customers as my kids because it's the same thing. It's the same level of stress. It's the same level of focus. You can't just switch off because it needs maintaining, it needs feeding, it needs looking after. Otherwise, it will just wither and die. So it will take over your life. As long as you're okay with that, you're off for a winner. Hope that helps. See you next week.